It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
in today's episode.
You
speak.
I'm gonna speak over you. The radio quality is so good here. Never mind.
You started doing it phonetically, and so it threw me off. I was like, oh, okay, I have no time in here anymore. In today's episode, news and games and stuff.
It's working. I was gonna say I'm just gonna cut you off every chance I get, and even then it worked.
You know what? Let's just do this right now. You're.
I love
that
it.
feels good. All right. Yeah, news, games, all that stuff. First, though, thank you for joining us. You can get more from me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. Email us, gamespluspodcast@VentureBeat.com. That's the plus sign. Thanks to Carlos Ayin who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme song. And yeah, if you're listening to this on Twitch or YouTube, we have an audio version. You get it on Spotify or wherever you get podcasts, and then like us there because that also helps people find the show. All right, Mike, how you doing?
Okay, I guess, cut the grass yesterday. That was nice.
Did that feel normal? Did it just feel nice to do something normal, or it was just like,
It was more than anything, it was nice to be outside. Of course, now it was snowing a little bit ago again here, so yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we had the blizzard last week, and now it's starting to feel like spring here finally. So, although we'll see how long that lasts because we've had a few false starts already. Yeah,
I could really just go for some full-time spring action at this point.
Yeah, I'm okay with a snowstorm here or there, but it would be nice just to because we do have the backyard and it's nice to go out there and the kids.
You moved to freaking Colorado. You signed up for that.
No, yeah, I'm totally. If we got like a snowstorm once a month all year round, I would be happy. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. As for our weekly check-in on our moods, I'm doing pretty good. This is fine. It's weird. Everything. You know what? Last night, it was just like. Even though we've been doing this for more than a month now, could not get over how weird everything is. Everything's so weird.
Yeah, right. Every once in a while, you just kind of stop and think about it. You're like,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all anyone talked about yesterday is like oil's trading for $- and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's something I didn't think I'd ever see. And it's like, yeah, and then you start like that. It starts snowballing from there, and I'm like, okay, I just can't handle all of my thoughts right now, so I'm gonna do something else. And then, thankfully, there was some news last night. Nintendo started dropping some stuff. We had to write up the NPD stuff last night. We could start there with the news if you want. You want to jump right into that?
Let's do it.
So for the NPD report, we'll start right there. It was a huge month. I think that everyone's speculation that gaming was going to do pretty well because of coronavirus was right. Everyone stayed home and everyone bought a lot of games. And not only that, they bought hardware and accessories to make sure that everyone in their family could join in on the fun. So they went out and bought a Switch, and Switch sales doubled from March 2019 to March 2020, year over year. March sales were twice what they were, and that's massive. That's huge. And then the Switch Pro controller was the top selling controller, and I think it's it also set a record. Had the best March for any gamepad ever. So yeah, things are doing well. But really, I mean, to me the story was Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing really is a massive hit, and you wrote up some of this. So, what were the takeaways from NPD's report?
Right, and I think we all thought this is obviously going to do very well, but each little kind of bullet point info was more insane than the last. First, it's this is already the best-selling Animal Crossing game in the U.S. ever. You're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of nuts. And then it's it's already the number 2 best-selling game of 2020 in the U.S. Oh wow, that's pretty insane. Especially because it's a Nintendo game, so it's only on one platform.
Right.
And then it was just this is the best launch month for any Nintendo game ever in the U.S. except for Smash Bros. Ultimate and Smash Bros. Brawl. So better than any Mario game, any Zelda game, any Mario Kart game, and that's where it is getting whoa, what is happening here?
And I think part of it is that more people are at home playing games, but really, I think this series was also just primed to reach this level of success.
There were so many factors, going into this. And I mean, the social distancing is definitely a part of it. But people even before that, there seemed to be so much more buzz about Animal Crossing this time.
Yes.
It's on the Switch, which is this really hot system right now. there was a good length of time between this and New Leaf, and New Leaf itself was really successful and kind of brought in a lot more fans and stuff. So yeah, just a lot of things like working in this game's favor too. But even then, it's like there's still something there's still something unquantifiable about why, like, how it became such a massive, like, you know, it's we have to like get to, in this like mindset now of like big Nintendo franchises like Pokemon, you know, Mario, Animal Crossing.
It's right there.
Yeah, because I still remember when this was like the game that was coming up in Nintendo 64. We didn't even get it on that system, right?
Yeah.
It came after the GameCube. It was like this weird niche little thing, right? Like it was, and like so much of that was because it was just ahead of its time and what it was kind of doing. And now that is like totally just like a kind of game that people love to play right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that really puts into perspective that it's like it is one of Nintendo's big franchises, and it feels like it sort of just happened. Like, I mean, but you're right. It's been building over time. A 3DS game was very successful, and I guess a big part of that is just like that game was a slower burn. It just casually gathered fans over time, and as people got a 3DS, they picked up that game, and it was like a game for a wider swath of people than a lot of other video games, and those people were absolutely ready to pick up a Switch, to buy games again, and to get into stuff, and like, oh, this is my entry point now, and I'll pick up some other stuff as well, but I love Animal Crossing, and that's what I'm here for. And yeah, it just seems like this franchise has got to, part of me is like, I really like Animal Crossing New Horizons. They haven't changed up the formula too much. If there wasn't another game in the series for 10 years, I wouldn't be too mad. But it feels like there's no way they do that now, because it's just it's huge.
Right. I mean, if there was ever any doubt about it now, like Animal Crossing is like a Smash Brothers in that when there's a new system, there's going to be a new one of these, and it's going to be like one of their big tentpole releases that they can kind of strategically, place around things. And that's what like one of the big things that's benefiting, like the Switch is benefiting from, especially because we kind of have like consolidated the handheld and the home console franchises. This really was a handheld franchise, right? Like there was no Animal Crossing for the Wii U. Even if that system was a hit, it didn't seem like that was something that was on the table really. And now it's something they've been doing really well the last like 5 years or so with Fire Emblem and this and some other things, that they're turning some of their smaller franchises into bigger tentpole releases.
Yeah, and it's like you wonder if they like look at this and they're like, okay, so now we've kind of got we've established this like second tier, or not the second, this like second run of blockbuster franchises where we started out with Mario and Zelda, and over time we built like Smash Brothers and Pokemon, and now we've brought in Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. It's like, how do you like, I wonder if they're like looking around, they're like, okay, now let's start thinking about like what's going to be the next game to do that, or like a completely new IP, and like what the process is like that for them, because it's like
maybe it might even be time to bring back F-Zero. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, they seem to know what they're doing, and it's like if they could turn that into like the biggest racing franchise. Although maybe they just won't do that because of Mario Kart, but they could. I think they could, and it would be, if they could live together side by side, I think just fine.
That's the interesting thing now is like the Nintendo franchises that haven't quite maybe made that leap now, like your Star Foxes, maybe even your Pikmin's a bit. So I wonder if like Nintendo's okay with those things kind of being the smaller Nintendo franchises, if they're still looking for ways for those to be the giant, big deal, awesome things also.
Yeah, you wonder like how they think about that stuff. Like if I mean, I think part of it's like, okay, it's clear like we haven't had an F-Zero in a while, and so it's like it's probably because like it was just never as huge as some of its other games. But you also get the sense that like they'll just keep trying stuff with some of these other franchises. They'll keep making Yoshi's Island games that aren't quite as good as the original, and they're smaller and that they're fine, but they're willing to do it at least. And it's like, okay, so I think as long as they don't get too stuck in a rut and thinking like everything has to be the biggest game ever, I think they'll be fine, because I want them to continue being experimental and trying things, and these smaller games enable them to do that for sure. Just make sure we hit all these hardware things. This is the best March for like hardware sales. The Switch had the best March for hardware sales ever for the MPD tracking, and it beat the previous high, which was the Switch in 2017, because that was a launch, and it's like a launch month, and it's like you expect to sell a ton then, and then you wouldn't necessarily expect to like grow in like subsequent Marches. It's like subsequent falls, yeah. That's where like you're gonna see the big growth, but March, who knows? But this was like, oh no, this is just massive. Yeah, and then overall through this first quarter of 2020, Switch had the best Q1 since the Nintendo DS in 2010. So it's like, if you're looking to like try to match up trends with how the system it's doing like as well as one of the best selling systems of all time.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I think sometimes people forget like the DS it's like that, and PlayStation 2 are the gold standard for system sales. So that's nuts. If you're comparing to the DS, you're happy.
You know, and you know, there's always like, oh well, Nintendo had the DS and the Wii at the same time, so it's like things aren't quite as big, and it's like, yeah, that's fair, but that's just the way it is now, where you know people have smartphones, so they don't spend quite as much on handhelds and stuff. But it's like Nintendo has found a way to make that make sense in a way that's like, okay, the Switch is clearly a huge success. MLB. Before we move on from the MPD, anything to say about MLB The Show 2020?
Yeah, I mean, it was number 3 for the month, which seems pretty high for the show, and in fact, it was the best launch month that franchise has ever had. And you know, part of that I think is also kind of COVID related, specifically that there may not be any baseball season this year. We don't know. Like, this might be the closest we get to a baseball season. So I mean, and this franchise has always been good, and it has been building up momentum, right? Like, the record it's beating is from the last one. It's from MLB The Show 19. So it's not like, you know, there isn't kind of a pattern here, but still, like, that had to do something with it. Because, like, if you want baseball, like, this is kind of your best bet, really.
Right. Yeah. Other games that, like, launched in March that didn't get a lot from, didn't get a lot of analysis from the MPD were, like, Resident Evil 3, Neo 2, there was a couple other things, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, did that Doom Eternal placement seem kind of low to you?
Doom Eternal, maybe. Yeah, Doom Eternal was another one, maybe.
I mean, should that be getting beaten by the show normally, which is like on one platform and it's the baseball game?
Probably not, but
I mean, everything's crazy right now.
Everything's crazy, and yeah, I think I'd have to look to see to make sure that Bethesda shares the digital numbers with them, because it's hard to tell otherwise.
I mean, if I told you in 2010 that the Animal Crossing game was going to cream the new Doom game in the MPD for the month,
yeah,
you and
I'd be like, that's a world I want to live in. Wild.
Yeah, right. It's great, huh? But
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah, and now here we are, and it's like, oh no, what did I do? What have I done?
Yes. Turns out the only difference is that people have gotten over the whole, like, I can't play a game that's cute because then I'm kiddie. We've gotten over that.
Yes.
A lot of other things are terrible.
But that was my biggest concern back then. So it was like,
yeah, it really was. Which,
people need to know this. Klonoa is a good game. It's not just for kids. Klonoa is fine.
Oh, but see, like, everyone knows that. Everyone loves Klonoa now. Everyone talks about Klonoa as a hidden gem.
Yeah. Not back then. Yeah, so it's we're in a Twilight Zone episode is what you're describing. We got our wish.
Yeah. We got our wish, but we broke our glasses and we can't read.
All right, moving on. So also happening last night, as we're like working on this MPD stuff for this morning, that went up early this morning, Nintendo started putting out some stuff about Super Mario Maker, and I was like, hey, what is this? And I check out the video, and it's just like, hey, the final update for Super Mario Maker 2 is coming. And it's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? The final update, okay. And I, click on it, and it's like, okay, let's run down what was in the video in case people haven't watched it. And even if you have, maybe you missed some of this stuff. So there's a Super Mario Brother 2 mushroom. It's a power-up. It's like the Link one, where it turns you into Mario from Super Mario Brothers 2. But if you get hit, you lose those qualities. And those qualities are like, as Super Mario Brothers 2 Mario, or any of the characters that get the Super Mario Brothers 2 mushroom, you can ride on enemies instead of just like jumping on them and knocking them out. You could pick them up and throw them, stuff like that. So it means you can like,
so you get all the Mario 2 qualities.
Yes, you can like jump on a bullet bill and ride on that bullet bill, or you can even like pick it up and then throw it, and then it's gonna go back and keep flying, and then you can jump on it and stuff. Yeah. So it's like,
do you think that this was like programmed in here as part of a more ambitious idea at some point?
Yes.
To have a Mario 2, like,
absolutely,
like stage set, yeah.
I absolutely think that. I I think there's a lot of like circumstantial evidence when you look at like at the way that they still always, you know, we can always point to like, oh, more extra game styles, and there's only one thing there, and there's an empty space right next to it. Why would they set it up like that?
And
If
there's
there
a
weren't going to
bunch
be
of
more?
empty spaces, and they use
Yeah,
yeah.
and it just to me it seems like Nintendo took a look around and was like, Super Mario Maker 2 sold well. It sold fine, but this is the same team that like works on Zelda Breath of the Wild, and this is the same team that works on 3D Mario games. And maybe when we look at the sales of like Zelda and we look at the sales of Odyssey, these games are turning into sort of Mario Kart like ongoing bestsellers over time in the way that the 2D Mario games did on all previous Nintendo games or systems. And so I think Nintendo's logic here is, let's just pull the plug on Super Mario Maker 2, especially now that we are facing down this crisis where we're going to have to figure out how to make this work from home, when maybe this game isn't even worth supporting anyhow, just because it's not selling as well, you know, down the stretch. And so why don't we take the people that are working on that and like either do something new. Hopefully they just go and make a new standalone bespoke 2D Mario game. I think that would be fantastic. No idea if that's happening. My guess is those people are probably going into finishing Breath of the Wild 2 or the next 3D Mario game, because that, you know, Odyssey did sell very well. Best-selling 3D Mario game ever, I believe. So yeah, so like I think they got to a point where like they're like, we could put Super Mario Brothers 2 in here as a new style. That was always the plan. Okay, are we getting there? Are we getting there? Kinda, not really. Well, what do we have? It's like, well, we have the character mechanics working. Well, let's just throw that in there like Link and call it a day, and you know, throw it in with a bunch of other stuff too. That's like, and that's it. Kind of feels scattershot, this whole update, right?
Right. I mean, there's a lot. Like, it's a lot of content, and I mean, I don't mean to skip ahead, but like the World Maker especially is very cool. Like, that's like something that if that ever like launched with the game, would be like, oh, this is super neat. Like, you can now basically like, because that was always kind of the thing missing, was like you could make Mario levels, but you never felt like you're making your own Mario game.
Correct.
Now you can kind of do that more, which is
so
really
yeah.
neat.
Let's describe how the World Maker works. It's like you are designing an overworld map, just like Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 3.
Mostly Super Mario World style, really.
Yeah, I saw some stuff that looked closer to 3, but you're right. It's overall closer to World. And you can, you know, use the same editing tools, and you can like change the look. You can change the icons for each stage. And on this world map, you can put your own stages that you've made into each one of these slots so that people have to go through them and get to the castle and beat the world. And then you could take up to 8 of these worlds, string them together into Super World Maker, and then you can send these out as your whole like 8 world entire Mario games that you've built yourself with up to 40 stages. It's like, wow, that's always what I've wanted from this series, and I think that's because it's like making stages is fun. I like that, but I like making stages for specific people. Once specific people start like falling off the game, it's okay. So where do I find the fun in Mario Maker? And to me, it's like, okay, I can go online with Mario Maker 2 and have a really good time still. I have been, and it works, and that's for me. But it's like that is one style of play where I'm going online, and it's like if I start losing a lot in like the races, or if the internet is bad, the connection. If I got a couple bad rounds in a row where the internet connection is really laggy, it turns me off. It sours me. It's like, well, what else can I do in this game? It's like I kind of like troll through the uploaded stages, try to find something good. Nah. But it's like, if someone just put together a Mario game for me to play through, I'm like, okay, I could just do that. And like, if this is a curated experience, and if these things also get their own like rating, it's like, oh, this is like a highly rated one, let's give it a try. And it's like, oh, okay, this is just its own experience. I could do this instead to engage with this game in an ongoing way. It's like that is what I wanted from Mario Maker for a long time.
Yeah, and I'm someone, I didn't really play a ton of Mario Maker 2, and but like, and part of it was like I almost felt like there's more of this pressure, like instead of just making like a normal Mario level, there, like, because there was so much like kind of history of Mario Maker 1 already. There's so much about making kind of crazy levels, like something that's doing something really weird, or it's like super hard. And like, I just felt like I wasn't impressing nobody by making a Mario level.
Right.
But now it's like, well, I can make like a whole Mario game, and it could just be like, here's the world with the, you know, lava themed levels, and there's a progression in difficulty, and I'm just trying to like make a game myself, and I can, maybe show it to my friends, and I could be like, hey friends, you could play my Mario game. That sounds pretty cool.
Yes, and I think that's I think you're right in suggesting that this is going to make people appreciate Mario stages more than they have. I think you're right.
Right.
Like when I go to play one of these games, if it's just like one crazy thing after another, like they're gonna have to really, really nail those crazy ideas. They're gonna have to really be impressive. If it's just like, here is a solid Mario stage, and then here's another one that's like different, and it's a little bit harder or a little bit faster, or like it feels like a mixtape where it's like you're mixing up like what my expectations were. It's like I just did something like this, and now here's a really fast short stage you have to like run the entire time. That is like, okay, getting into that flow is a good way of presenting standard Mario levels as an interesting idea in a Mario Maker game. So yeah, very into it. Some of the other things in this update, the frog suit, where of course you could swim, but now the frog suit also runs on water, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's the power balloon, which I write here is fart powered, because that's what it looks like. Looks like
yeah, it's very different than how it works in World, right? Like,
right.
There's more propulsion, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like you're like, it comes right out of the butt, and like you just go, the opposite way, the way the butt's facing. So it's like, okay, I could see some cool stages come from that. And then they're bringing in the Super Acorn from some of the new Super Mario Brothers games, where Mario turns into a flying squirrel.
New Super Mario Brothers, you specifically, I believe.
Was it okay? Yeah, that's right. Totally. And then the boomerang suit is coming in as well, and then there's a bunch of like new additions in terms of these things we haven't seen before, called box hats. And these box hats add a cannon or propeller or a POW box or a Goomba mask or a bullet bill mask.
These look like kind of build arounds for whole levels, right? Like you can kind of like do some different things with that. And then one of the neater things is the Koopalings, because now you have like 7 different bosses you can put in, which again, for making like a Mario game, you now have like a bunch of different sub bosses besides just Bowser Jr. or like that one big guy, whatever his name was. So that's pretty cool. It is weird, like so much of the stuff, like it constantly said for only 3D world mode or for everything but 3D world mode.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and that just makes me think more like if there was more of these like standalone weird stages like 3D world, it's like, man, this would make more sense and it'd be okay. I'd be more okay with this. It's especially if it was like, oh, here's all the Super Mario Brothers 2 stuff. Let's throw that in there, and that's just gonna work with Super Mario Brothers 2. But like, yeah, like there's a ton of stuff there. It's totally cool. But whatever. But speaking of Super Mario Brothers 2, Phanto, they're bringing in Phanto from. Wait, no, Phanto. What is Phanto from? 3? No, 2. Yeah,
the sun that changes you. That's from 2.
No, the sun is from 3. The Phanto isn't the sun. Phanto's like a mask. Like
Yes. The thing that chases you when you grab the key.
Right, exactly. They're similar. The sun that chases you in 3. Yeah. But Phanto, yeah, so you grab the key and then you take it up, and then Phanto gets mad at you and chases you, and it's like horrifying. Well, now you can use that in Mario Maker. And I'm glad it's like, if they were going to sort of do Super Mario Brothers 2 as a half step, I'm glad that Phanto got included. Like that, I'm glad they didn't miss that. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, the last thing from World Maker, bonus stages, which was not an option in the game before. So like, when you're trying to do like the match 3, like roulette wheel sort of thing for Super Mario Brothers 3, you can add that to your world map now. So it's not just like stage after stage. You can again mix things up. Really, really enabling people to totally make their own Mario games. And then this morning, we got another update from Nintendo for Animal Crossing, and this is like their big April update. But it's all like, this is for stuff all through this, like the next couple of months. Let's start here right from the top. They're adding bushes and shrubs, which I am surprised about how excited I am about. Like,
yeah, no, like, oh wow, bushes.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize. I never thought like, man, if only this game had some bushes. But I'm like, oh, shit, dude, there's bushes.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly how I am. Yeah, and it's like they look great. They look really good. But then they're also adding. This was like a big surprise for me. So Jolly Red is going to start visiting your town on a boat. And he is a fox, and he has this boat called the Treasure Trawler, and he sells you furniture, but also rare art. And then you can take rare art to the museum, and now the museum has a new wing for art that it will display. And it's like, wow, the museum's getting an update with like all kinds of new stuff. I'm like, man, that is, and it looked great. It looks just as good as the rest of the museum.
Right, and I think it'll be good for people who are maybe like a bit flush with bells at this point. Like maybe they've upgraded a lot of their town and they've already kind of done a lot of the big bell spenders. This will give them another thing to kind of be able to like work towards and dump bells into.
I think you're absolutely right, because I've seen, like when I was watching the video, I've seen some of those things in the store, the Nook's Cranny, and those things, the things I saw that were in Nook's store that were in the museum were like 130,000 bells. It's like these are big, expensive items. So, yeah. And then they're gonna start doing some more events, starting with Nature Day, which starts this week on April 23rd. This is their Earth Day event basically, and it's going to have a couple of like features to it where it's not going to be, you're not going to be finding eggs everywhere. Instead, you're going to be working on special Nook Plus miles rewards things that are specific to like outdoorsy stuff or whatever, like actually planting some of these shrubberies or whatever. And then you could take those miles and buy like a May Day tour, which is a special Nook Miles ticket where you go to the airport and now you fly to these May Day islands that are special islands that you can get, Earth Day rewards from. So it seems pretty cool. And then in May, they're going to do a stamp rally in the museum for International Museum Day. And it looks like just sort of this fun event to do in the museum. And boy, does that seem like a good time. I'm like so ready for that.
Anything to do with the museum, I'm down for.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like I was already loving the museum. Like, it's just cool to like go in there and look around. But the idea of like doing events inside the museum is so exciting, because it's like, man, using the space in such a smart way. That's a great way to handle this.
And these events seem so much better than the Easter thing. They don't seem nearly as like kind of intrusive, I guess.
Yeah.
And they kind of seem better themed. Now, I wonder if this was like always planned this way because these are kind of smaller holidays. I wonder if there's like any kind of like they already reworked some of this based off of the feedback from Bunny Day.
Yeah, I wonder that as well. I think once we get in there, we'll have a better idea. And especially with like something like Wedding Season, which is another event, and it looks like that's gonna have a ton of stuff, like a ton of DIY stuff to collect, maybe similar to the way Bunny Day worked. But let's wait and see, like.
Let's wait till the Halloween event, right?
Like, right, exactly. Like, where's candy going to be? Is candy going to be like, am I going to be digging up 50 pieces of candy every time I'm trying to like find a fossil or whatever? But yeah, in like the Wedding Season, it's like I think characters are actually getting married. You're actually like decorating their venue or whatever. It looks really fun. It's like, and it's brilliant because it's like, again, this franchise appeals to such a wider audience. It's like other games would never have anything like this, but Animal Crossing does, and it's appealing to the right people, and it's like, yeah, really well done by Nintendo.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of stuff I'm excited about.
Yeah, same here. And then that begins on June 1st. So, and it runs through the entire month of June. So you guys can check it out then. That does it for the news, though. Should we just go? There was so much with the NPD and Nintendo stuff. I didn't kind of want to put smaller stories in here, but did anything else happen in the last week that we missed?
Oh gosh, I mean, my brain is all NPD mush now, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. And I mean, honestly, all these things had so many facets to them. I didn't want to put too much else in here. So, yeah, let's just move on to what we've been playing. Should we just kind of talk about Animal Crossing at all? Do you want to like give us an update there?
No, but just like I'm having fun now because I'm really in the city planning phase of things where I'm like building more parks, more roads, just like trying to beautify the island. And that's kind of the gameplay loop more than anything. It's like going to the store, seeing what's for sale, if like it's something I really want. But it's so much more of that right now. Like I still have I think a couple of like the really expensive home upgrades to get, but it's I haven't slowed down. I've still been, doing about an hour at least every day. So
yeah,
it's got its hooks in me now.
Yes, I'm really after a tuna still. I've been spending the whole last week basically trying to catch a tuna. And in the process, like I caught a coelacanth, or however you say that, and I'm like, oh, that was nice, but that's around all year long, but it's still really rare, so that was exciting. Yeah. But then in one session, I caught that same session where I caught the coelacanth, I also caught 3 blue marlins instead of a tuna. It's like, god damn it, I already have a blue marlin.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah, I know them. I was catching like a lot of marlins at one point too. I'm like, these are supposed to be harder to get, but I can't remember if I got a tuna or not. I have to check.
Well, there's a week left to get a tuna, basically. So I'm like, I want to make that happen before I miss it.
Last week there was that one you said I had to get that was hard, and then like on my third try I got it. So.
Yeah. I got it much later than you, but I picked it up. There's a very frustrating thing though in my Critterpedia when I go to look at like what animals I have. I have one that is I caught, and I look at it and it doesn't have the little owl by it to say, oh, you didn't put it in your museum. And the reason for that is I caught it on like one of the first days, and I just sold it, and it turns out that this is one of the it was in February, and February was the last month that it was available. And I was like, that's like
cheating anyways.
No, I was playing like that for a review, and it's like the 2 days I played in February, I caught this thing, and I could have had it in the damn museum if I would have just held on to it.
Now you gotta wait like the rest of us.
I gotta wait for the rest of the year, but it's gonna haunt me not seeing that little owl by its thing. It's God damn it. Every time I go through it, I'm like, okay, what doesn't have the owl? So I make sure, what is this thing? It's like, oh, damn it. Yeah. Pain in the ass.
I don't have a beeping thing, but I believe that's what the kids call get effed. Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good game. It still really is a good game. I think it's as it continues to stay in my like play rotation and the way it has, I'm considering it for game of the year. I think I honestly think it's going to be up there for me.
Well, it's no Ori, but speaking of which,
yes. Speaking of which, I have played some more, not a ton more, but and the reason for that is because I'm starting to get like. I got like 3 unreleased games dumped on me at the same time.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So like, and I can't. I don't think I could talk about any of them too much. I think I could say that I could say I'm playing Streets of Rage 4. I could say that I'm playing Gears Tactics. I don't think I could say I'm playing the other one, and I'm not really playing the other one, so that works out fine. So, but those are keeping me busy. But when I'm getting time, I'm going back to Ori. But it's been like maybe just an hour more since last time. But yeah, that game's fantastic. It really is. And I also put in some time with Final Fantasy VII, like more time since last time. And that game's still, the first hour was really solid, and then you start doing a lot of side quests right away, and that was a little bit less, my jam. But it was still, like anytime I was in combat, I was having a really good time, and that was stringing me along. And the game looks really good, and that also is keeping me there. But that's another game where it's like, I also put like maybe an hour into that as well. So I feel like I feel like I want to get Ori out of the way, and then I'll go to Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. But again, after all these review games out of my way. So yeah.
I've been like really playing a lot of Final Fantasy recently, and like just like trying to finally beat it, like putting in like 7-hour days in it, and I'm loving it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And like especially like into it more than I thought it would be. Super great.
Yeah, it just sounds like people pretty universally love the game, and even people that seem to have criticisms of it still praise many aspects of it, and the combat being first and foremost there. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying that. I'll say that like for Streets of Rage 4, I'll talk about that more next week. But if you're a fan of the series, I think there's no reason to hesitate. It seems like they're gonna nail that stuff. So yeah. But we'll talk about it more next week. I don't know. I've been so busy with those, I haven't had much time for anything else. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, aside from my still playing a little Overwatch, still playing.
Right. Sure.
Played a lot of WoW this week because the new raid came out and all that stuff, and I think I reached the point. I think I talked about this last week. I was going to, but I officially told him hey, I'm going to be taking a step back from raiding. I don't want to devote this much time to World of Warcraft Classic right now anymore. But yeah, it's all right. We all got our breaking point.
Yeah. All right, Mike. I think we could wrap this up. Let's get out of here. Why don't you tell people where they could find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Also, check out 90s Disney, my podcast about Disney in the 90s. We actually just published a interview with Kirk Wise, who's the co-director of films such as Beauty and the Beast, Atlantis, Lost Empire, and Hunchback of Notre Dame. So if you ever like those movies, or the old Epcot attraction Cranium Command, he talks about that quite a bit too. That's all in there, so give that a look-see. I
got that on my queue to listen to when I'm doing my chores, Mike. I'm very excited.
There you go.
I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I'm also still doing How Games Make Money, our other podcast, where I interview someone about how games make money. And in recent weeks, I talked to Rami Ismail. I talked to Root Pugh, who's the developer responsible for Splinter Steel, which is like the Prisoner's Dilemma, but it's on Steam and free to play. And yeah, I'll be talking. I think I'm going to be talking to some people from Microsoft about Game Pass here pretty soon. So yes, check that show out. It's anywhere where you find podcasts, also on YouTube. All right, I think that's going to do it. Let's get out of here. Let's say goodbye to the good people, Mike, how we always do. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Adios, amigos. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good one.